Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence, and today we're going to be taking a look at the G.I. Joe Classified version 4 Snake Eyes. And if you're wondering why I'm calling this version 4 when there have been many versions of Snake Eyes in Classified, it's because of that guy right there, the version 4 Snake Eyes. So that is what we equate this to, or at least I do. You may not. I can't answer for that. But anyway, we're going to take a look at this guy. We're going to get into him. I'll be able to compare him to that original O-ring of mine that has a broken crotch. I have none of the other weapons. Hell, I don't even know why I have that because I was so far out of G.I. Joe. Probably because he was Snake Eyes. But anyway, we're going to take a look at this, see all the stuff that he comes with, which I do believe everything on his person is reuse of some sort. All right, on the side here, you have some pretty cool artwork right there. You have number 165 in the line. On here we have the file card, so you can read that if you know all about that. There you have the QR code that leads you straight to hell. And then right there, for anyone that is looking for it, there is the barcode. Pause it, snapshot it, take it into Target, Walmart, wherever, see if they have it. On the back here, we got some pretty cool artwork. And if you look here, we got a couple fangs in the back. Now, before anyone flips out and says, oh my god, the fang, that is the Walmart exclusive, okay? Which is a 4-inch modern day, it's a modern day 4-inch 1/18 scale figure. So that's what that is. They work them into the background. They did it with the Sky Striker. Doesn't mean they're not coming out with it, because I'm sure they probably will, but that is not it as of right now. But anyway, let's get into this. I'm super excited to get into another Snake Eyes, and if you see, I might have another Snake Eyes there too that will be coming out real shortly. But anyway, before we do, if you like this type of content, you're like, hell, I love when you do G.I. Joe Classified, please take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop a classified review. Alright, he's out of his plastic prison, and as I always like to do, if you're new to the channel, I like to look at the accessories first. And I always say I like to go over the reuse ones, but guess what? These are all reuse. So, quickly we'll take a look at his swords. Now, these are originally, if I am correct, and correct me if I'm wrong, these are from Storm Shadow, the movie Storm Shadow. It looks like, well, they definitely put red there. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be blood, but you can kind of see what's supposed to be being serrated underneath it. I'm not sure if that's how a knife or how a sword might actually look, but this is a nice looking sword. You can see some nice detail right there on the handle. All right, so you got the grip, and then you have your guard. You got the red right there, and then you got the blade, and it is pretty straight like that. All right, it does have flex to it. It's not pokey, so you should be good. And then we're going to have this one too, all right? And these are slightly different, as one has a little bit more of a bend than the other. Again, not too different. The handle, well, actually the hilt is different. So, I'm just lying here. I'm lying right off the beginning of the review. So the hilt is completely different right there. All right, so you can see the nice design here. You got the guard, so... And then we have his the little pack that both swords can fit into. It really doesn't matter which way you put them in. All right, and you can just kind of see some little rivets that are kind of holding that down. It almost looks like it has a peg for something in the middle, but I don't believe it has anything to do with it. This will just plug right into the back. All right, so here we have his grappling hook, and if you're wondering why he has this grappling hook, the original one came with this big, giant, spring-loaded... I don't remember the grappling hook, but it was one of those big rockets that shot off. I think it was supposed to be a grappling hook. And again, that was when G.I. Joe started changing, we could say. But you can look at the detail on this. I believe this is the same one that came with the Arctic Storm Shadow, or maybe... I think the Arctic Storm Shadow is the only one they've done, which they did it in, I think, the Blue Ninjas and Alpine, so... But some nice detail right up there. It's nice and red. It is sturdy, all right? So this is sturdier, a harder plastic than any of the weapons. And you can just untie it if you want and then pull it down if that's something you need to do. I'll probably do it later on. And then we're going to look at this weapon. And this is one of the best weapons they've done. It came with the Crimson Guards. Now, here we have them painted in with a little bit of red. So It does have a suppressor that comes off. And either way, that looks pretty good. So you have the suppressor. You can use it on other weapons if need be. You can see the holes through it. It has a port for blast effects. Right there, you got your nice iron sight. All right, your little rail. All right, it looks like a laser pointer. There's your barrel. Just some red details on it. You got your grip, your trigger guard, your trigger, your foregrip, front grip, whatever you want to call it. Removable magazine. And again, that is just a nice looking weapon. It's something different than giving him the Uzi, as you know we've done so many times. But again, I like seeing something a little bit different here. Now, I just said this is a laser pointer. This almost looks like that's the barrel. So I'm not sure. If this is based off a real weapon, feel free to explain it to me. Because the holes there make it look like that's the barrel of the gun. Alright. Now we'll get to our figure. And I know people are saying, oh, not another Snake Eyes. I think it's been a little while since we've had Snake Eyes out. And again, he is the biggest character in G.I. Joe. But this is a completely different figure. Completely different character. And before anyone says, oh, he should never be in blue, he should only be in black, this is the original. That's all I have to say on that. So, looking here, he has the nice goggles. You can see some detail right there. You got the air ventilation, so he can obviously, so he can breathe. He can't speak, but he can breathe, obviously. And right around it, I think that actually looks pretty good. I don't know why I seem to not have a real good focus right here. You know what? I'm going to pause this for a second. Alright, so this seems to be maybe a little bit better. I don't know why. It didn't seem like it was focusing all that good. So we got the nice goggles. I think the paint looks pretty good. It looks like maybe there's a little bit of overspray right there. Again, you got the ventilation so he can breathe, the hard mask. I love the fact that you can see how this is going to kind of, not collapse, but how you can tighten it. And then you have the stitching all over his mask right there. Alright, and then in the front, he has a new style plate carrier. Again, we're not used to Snake Eyes having this. There's your straps for it. He has an undershirt or an underbody armor for it, I guess. And I'm assuming this is supposed to be so it's just a little bit softer. A bunch of little pouches all over the place. Some, some vertical, some horizontal. But I love the little buttons. I love the belt buckle right there, and then just a little bit of paint here showing that this is the little clasp for the buckle at the bottom. Alright, and then we get down to his belt. More pouches, and then black, just so kind of it works together. But all the pouches are meant to look the exact same as we can see here. And then you kind of got some texture right over there, all the way to the back, which is another plate carrier. So basically on this whole thing, there's only one paint app, and this is black. This is one of the figures that has very little paint apps, if you can't tell. So arms are pretty good. Nothing on there. He's got this. I'm not sure if that's considered a gauntlet, but it is some sort of forearm protector. And on the back right there, we do have some what I would assume is Japanese writing, and it looks to be. I mean, there's 4 different writings right there, so they're not the same. I have no idea what it says. If you do, please let me know. You got the gloves here, and you can look. I believe these are like maybe new right there, because I don't remember seeing those lines right through it. All right, and then we get down to the legs, and what you can do is, I have no idea what types of knives these are, so I would say if you know what they are, tell me in the comments. But what I'm gonna say is, hey Matthew Matson, my moderator, please in the comments tell me what kind of knives these are, because I know you know. But you got the handle here, you got the little circle right there that you can put a rope around, so I can throw it, bring it back in here. Here is his this is his holster for his submachine gun. Again, lots of pouches, lots of little detail. And I'm sure this is going to float up and down, which is going to drive people nuts. Myself probably included. Nice boots. Now they're shiny, so I'm assuming that means that these are some sort of shim protectors. And then you just got the the underbelly of it right there. Blue on the back. I don't know why he has red right here, but he has red right on the sole here. And he has ninja toes, so he has the ninja shoes right there, which I always assumed as a kid was so he could put throwing stars in his toes and throw them. Before anyone does ask, this is made in China. So odd that we got some of these figures out of Vietnam and other ones not. So let's compare the two of these figures and then we'll get into the quick articulation. So he has the red mask. These are more square. I'm glad that they're more elongated and rectangle there. You get the blue strap that goes all the way around. The silver mask. You got the holes right there. All right, black on the top. Looking at the vest. So the same style right there. You can see it's kind of padded. He has the under vest right there, which is exactly what that is. You can see the detail on it. And then look at these pockets. One for one here. One there, one there, one there. All offset. You got the strap that goes across there. You got the buckle right there. You got the buckle right across the bottom. It looks like, is that two little pouches that are supposed to be right there? And then you get down to the belt buckle. Or the belt right here. Now, they made this all one. They didn't really give him a belt buckle there. When we get to the arms, he has some writing, but they're on the top, all right? So they're on the top on the original one, where on these ones, for this one, it's on the bottom, all right? Which I guess kind of makes more sense. So they kind of did a swerve there. This is more to the side. As for the legs, he has the blue stripe that goes down the side. Rather than do full blue, they did this black in the front, blue around, and still gave him a black boot. So if you're one of those people that needs the original and that's what you need, you could just slide these two things off and then you have the black pants with the stripe going down it. I mean, they pretty much nailed it. Even looking at the back there, very similar. I guess they made this a full plate carrier. So, all right. As for the articulation, his head can look not really down. That's how far it can look down. That's how far it can look up. This is something that the classified team, they need to rectify because snipers flying stuff like right over here, this Cobra Claw, you really can't do anything, and it's very frustrating. So the neck is also on its own joint, so you can move it around. You can kind of turn side to side. As for his T-pose, it is perfect like that. Bicep swivel, pinless double elbows, which this is very smooth. Feels really good, to be honest. You get your swivel on your with your hands. All right, he does have an ab crunch. Now the ab crunch will be the ab crunch will have some issues because obviously this plate carrier gets in the way. That's why I said they really need to look at using the same type of rubber or plastic that Street Fighter uses. People will probably say that it's cheap and be mad about it, but people want everything to be Street Fighter. You know what Jade is doing for theirs. It would give it much better articulation. He does have butterfly joints, but I don't think they're going to work all that well. All right, that one actually kind of seems to go over a little bit. All right, he just turns side to side. There's his Jean-Claude Van Damme. I think that's going to get in the way. Drop down hips. But what you really want is, can you fit them into a Vamp and Awe Striker, which we know is coming. There's your thigh cut. Double pinless knees, and man, very, very smooth. Except for right there. That knee seemed to have like a little break in it, to be honest. I didn't think you could kind of hear that pop. Almost like the plastic kind of melted together. Don't really see that too often anymore, but... And then he does have a boot cut. So right there, you got your nice boot cut. I think it works pretty nicely right there. And then your articulation. I don't know why I said that. Your ankle articulation. All right. As for the figure, first off, how well does this go in here? That's really your big question, right? So this kind of just opens up, and I guess just the force of it just kind of keeps it on there. I mean, hell, if it works, I guess it works. Maybe it's supposed, I think it's supposed to be up like that. I don't know. I mean, it has a little spot there for that. I mean, it stays in there, which is kind of odd, and all you're going to do is open it up. I thought it was going to be more like Laws, where you can put the big Uzi in there. Maybe they should have went with the Uzi since they have that. But you can just kind of hold that right there. I guess it works. Keeps the stuff on his person. All right. As for the little back piece here, and kind of throw that on there. And that is supposed to go like this, I believe. Yeah, because it sits a little bit further down, and you want your swords to be on an angle. So you can maybe slide both swords in like that. You can turn it any way you want. So it is set properly. It pops right out. I'm going to throw this on here. So really the only thing that you can't carry on, but he can still walk around with it, is your grappling hook that he's going to toss up. Yeah, so I think it's just like that. All right. Now sometimes with these ninjas, you see the way that toe goes up. Sometimes they don't want to stand all that great. Sometimes this doesn't want to stay on that well. Use a little bit of sticky tack if that doesn't want to stay in there. And I mean a little bit, and it'll stay right there. So there he is. He stands pretty good. Pose him. All right, that's going to be aggravating. So pose your figure and then put that stupid backpack on him. All right. So here we are in a nice waiting position. I'll throw this on him just so I can get frustrated when I try and get him on one foot. So there he is there. I think that looks pretty damn good. That thing falls off. And as for getting him on one foot in a nice running position, his ankles are actually pretty loose, but I got him in a running position really easily, so really shouldn't be that difficult. Look at that. Not that bad. So, anyway, there you go. That is your version 4 Snake Eyes review. Again, I think it looks pretty good. Let's wrap this up. Alright, so there you go. Version 4 Snake Eyes in the classified form. This thing is going to be extremely frustrating. It keeps popping out every time I hit it. I didn't put the swords on them. You guys know how to put swords on. You've seen me do it 100 times, I'm sure. Anyway, it does look good. I like the darker blue. Again, I think this looks really good. Not the Snake Eyes I would have went with, although they've given us all the other ones. We got Commando Snake Eyes, we got Ninja Snake Eyes, we got Desert Snake Eyes, we have Arctic Snake Eyes. There is an Arctic one. He's more of a snow guy. Came with Timber, I believe. Anyway, there you go. If you're so interested, you can get them. I left the barcode at the beginning. You got to see how he looks compared to the O-ring, which again, I think they did a pretty good job. You got to modernize them, but I do like the darker blue. I think it just fits better than the lighter blue. I'm sure someone will complain and say that's not what they had as a kid, and yada, 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 and you hear the whining and the crying. I absolutely love it. I don't. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. You've seen enough of this, but you're like, hey, have you done more classified? I'm going to say, hell yeah, I have. But please take a second, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you're notified every time I drop it. So, I know you're saying, hey, what else have you done? Well, right up here will be another review I've done, and down here will be a playlist of all the classified stuff that I reviewed. Take care.